You're watching E.T.N. Entertainment-related new, entertainment-related discussion. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to have a little fun, and this is going to be, what if Shin Gojira and Godzilla 2014 switched movies? I'm getting so excited with July coming and Comic-Con right around the corner, and I know there's going to be so much to discuss. We hope. I don't want to get too excited, right? We don't want to get too crazy. They may not talk much, but I would think with the movie coming out next year, this being the only Comic-Con opportunity for them, we're definitely going to get at least some information that's going to be new relative to what we've gotten over the last course of the year or 2 years. So, and I'm thinking about this stuff, and just randomly out of nowhere, the thought popped into my head of what Godzilla 2014 would be like if it was Shin Gojira in that movie, and what Shin Gojira would be like if 2014 was in that movie. And it wasn't that difficult to picture it, when I took in terms of the style of the two monsters and how they act, how Shin Gojira is like, he's a result of course, the radiation theme, more or less. And then Godzilla 2014, while there's some radiation elements in there, he's more animalistic. We all know that in 2014, his presence was mainly to go after the Muto. The Muto were there. He was a predator. He went after them. So it wasn't too hard to figure out that Shin Gojira with Godzilla 2014 would probably be more of a boring movie because Godzilla 2014 wouldn't be in it because he's a predator and there's nothing there to hunt. So that was pretty easy. So I got that one out the way. But 2014 to me was a little bit more amusing when thinking about Shin Gojira in that movie, because Shin Gojira is a very big monster, very, very slow, very methodic, lethargic, and not as brawly or what's the wrong, like, not a brawler like Godzilla 2014. Basically, when he felt a threat, he used his powers, whether it was his breath, whether it was the Pink Floyd beams out of his back, whether it was the shooting out from the ass, or his tail, rather. I'm just messing with some of you guys. I know. I'm just trying to get a rise out of you. Don't take the bait. But yeah, actually, it's funny. When you think about how offensive he is, I think about his first appearance, right? The airport. We all remember the airport was one of the best scenes of 2014 when Godzilla dropped his foot. And I was just thinking of all the people in the airport, if they had seen something like that, but it was Shin Gojira's foot that dropped. And when you consider Shin Gojira's skin and all those like little scar-like red openings on his body, that would definitely look more terrifying in that dark background with the fire. And then I thought to myself, how would he handle the Muto at that point? How would he, we know that Godzilla makes a big roar, they cut away, but they cut back, and you could assume by watching the tail end of their little battle that obviously they started to duke it out. So would Shin Gojira duke it out? And I gotta say, looking back at Shin Gojira, I don't think he would. I think the Muto would get the jump on him because he's faster, and I think the Muto would be hanging on his back and biting him and trying to claw him, and then Shin Gojira would just use his defense mechanism and blast lasers out of his back. And I gotta say, I don't think the flying Muto makes it to the end of the movie. I don't think he makes it that far. I don't think the flying Muto gets out of the airport alive. I really don't think he does. But for argument's sake, we don't know what kind of fight G14 and Muto had, because obviously when they cut away and they cut back, the Muto's flying off and Godzilla's diving into the water. So we'll just say that, assuming Shin Gojira doesn't blast his lasers out of his back and catches him, or catches him with some atomic breath, makes it to the end. Then we get to the bridge scene where Godzilla makes his second appearance later on after pursuing the flying Muto. And, Shin Gojira didn't take too well to getting bombed in his movie. So I would assume that he probably wouldn't take too well to being blasted by ships while rising out of the water. But you see in Shin Gojira, he blasts the lasers out of his back to take out the stealth bombers in the air. My fear here is that since these are ships and they're so close to him, I would think that he would probably go atomic breath here. And that would not be very good for all those people on the bridge. Now, the people on the bridge, most of them died anyway because Godzilla ripped through the bridge. But we know what Shin Gojira's breath can do, and we know that if he did that right there underwater, number one, it probably would evaporate the fucking water to begin with. It would certainly incinerate all the boats, and I think that the San Francisco bridge would probably burn from the center to both ends, which means Brody's son is dead. Oh my God, this is actually turning out to be pretty good. The violence, the destruction. That bridge, think about it, if Shin Gojira was right there next to the bridge, just like Godzilla or G14 was next to the bridge, and you're switching these monsters in the movies, he would burn that bridge down from the center where he is, the ground zero of his attack, and that bridge would literally burn and combust from center out on both sides, which means the gentleman driving that bus with Ford Brody's kid in it would be gone. That bus would be gone. Brody's son would be dead. Oh man. However, this is when Shin Gojira goes frozen for a couple of days. Oh boy. He's frozen for a couple of days. The Muto are not going to care about him because they're trying to reproduce. I'm seeing this play out now, and now you have the nest. The nest has been there for 3 days now. Now, look, we don't know what their incubation period is, so we're going to assume nothing crazy goes on with the nest. But do you think the Muto would attack Shin Gojira while he's in suspended animation? I mean, I would think they would. They'd probably want to take him out. Huh. Interesting. Or would they just rummage the city? I don't know. I mean, their main focus in that movie was to get together so they could reproduce. Well, they're reproducing just fine. The only real threat to them is Godzilla. So essentially, I think Godzilla would probably die while he was comatose or catatonic in the middle of the San Francisco Bay. But that's no fun, right? That's no fun. Let's move it along. Let's just say by some miracle there's a healing effect in the water to Shin Gojira and he doesn't go catatonic after that prior breath attack. Okay, makes it into the city. Now, Shin Gojira is a little bit different than G14. G14's focus is on the Muto. Shin Gojira has no focus. He's just a walking menace. So he is ripping San Francisco apart just by walking by. But the Muto still see him as a threat. They still have to take him out. So they engage him, okay? And this is where I think it gets pretty interesting. So we know that the female Muto is very upset at Mr. Brody for blowing up her nest. Oh, she doesn't take nicely to that. And she gets in his grill and she's about to give it to him. And then we see this purple light up in the background. And he looks over and you see Shin Gojira from the silhouette out by the smoke. And it reveals this huge atomic breath that rips the female Muto in half completely. And then shoots through her and starts chopping down the buildings. And he does exactly what he does in his own movie where he just moves his head around and blasts everything. And you got to remember who's nearby. Who's nearby in some of these buildings? It's Ford's wife. Now, Ford's wife and son are dead. This is becoming a very morbid movie. And Ford is barely making it out alive. You know, I mean, there's buildings falling where he is. There's a big combustive fire chasing him as he runs to the pier. Meanwhile, his buddies are waiting there because the female Muto couldn't make it to kill them. So they're all waiting there with the bomb, and they got to get the bomb. But then they realize, wait a minute. The female Muto's dead. The flying Muto's incinerated. There wasn't even a second fight there. I mean, actually, I think the flying Muto in the original G14 died before he fought the female. But be that as it may, the Flying Muto really didn't even make it to the end of the movie. He's dead at the airport. So both Muto are dead already, or the female's dead, assuming that the flying one made it there, because we did say that, right? I did say that, to be fair. But the Flying Muto would die in that combustion, okay? So now we got the boat. Shin's not going to walk back to. He don't give a shit about that. He just continues on, wrecking San Francisco. Ford has no clue that his wife and kid are dead. And he's got a bomb that's about to go off. I can tell you right now, the military's not going to be there to get him. Okay, the boat goes out. And anybody near the boat within that radius, I think in the movie they said it was like a 2-mile radius or 4-mile radius, are dead. So Ford's dead. Ford's wife's dead. Ford's son is dead. All those army troopers are dead. Anyone left in the city is dead. Anyone within 4 miles of the bay are dead. And Shin Gojira walks along through San Francisco, going about his business, and that's how the movie ends. We never know if America gets rid of him. Oh my God, it's amazing. Anyway, that's it for this video. What do you guys think if if G14 moved into the Shin Gojira movie and Shin Gojira moved into the 2014 movie? How do you think? Do you think it would have played out differently, or do you kind of agree with where I'm going with this, or do you have any outs for the Americans in their Godzilla 2014 brought to you by Shin Gojira? And I gotta say, because of Godzilla's motivation in 2014, he has no motivation to show himself in Shin Gojira's universe, so it would just be a movie about the government and nothing else, because Godzilla 2014 would never show up. Your thoughts in the comments. How do you think the two movies would be different if they had the respective monsters in very different, obviously they're opposite universes. Should be pretty fun to see what you guys have to say. Anyway, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Or you can click here to become an E.T.N patron. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.